but I'm here as Vice President for saan nga ba ako? Public Relations. Allow me to take this privilege to call on our president to officially start the meeting. Over to you, TM Isael.
Thank you, Toastmasters Grace, our Vice President for Public Relations. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our guest. As a President of Laguna Toastmaster Club, I now officially call this 139th meeting in order. All right. I am very much happy. I'm so excited to welcome you, and everybody, let's go on a pilgrimage this time. We'll have some self-discovery at the end of this session. I hope we'll get to learn more about ourselves, not just ourselves, but learn more about others as well. Let's have some learning, gain some wisdom and knowledge from each other. At this time, I'd like to officially start with the session. I would like to call our Toastmasters of the evening. We are privileged to be here once again, the only distinguished Toastmasters in our club, none other than Toastmaster Trixie.
Thank you, President Isael. Good evening, everybody. I love seeing the smiles on your faces. Please, on the chat box, let's make use of it. Describe how you're feeling tonight. I want to know what kind of journey you're having this past few hours, which lead you to, to feel this way tonight. Let's see. Oh, excited, feeling good. I love it. Wonderful. Blessed. Yeah, I'm feeling happy. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Recharging. After a full day at work, right? Wonderful. Thank you. You see, as I read this, I know that you're feeling much better because you know that the people around you, the energy that we share here is nothing but positive, hopeful, accomplished. We're happy to have you here, Toastmaster Ting. I understand we have a guest by the name of Kate. Did I hear that right? Toastmaster Grace?
Yes, that's Kate.
Very good. Kate, good evening. We're happy to have you here, and hopefully we can see your face anytime soon. Kate, you may unmute yourself and share with us one word on how you're feeling tonight. Feel free to.
I'm feeling grateful and also blessed.
Wonderful. Not just one word, but two. See, all of us just one, and she's the only one who exceeded the thing. So thank you for sharing. And if you're feeling, you said great, right? You're feeling great. You're feeling blessed. I'm pretty sure by the end of this session, you would feel 3 times, in level, like level 3. If you're in level 2, and then you'd go to level 5, probably. That one I can assure you. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go further and tell you more about Toastmasters, because we have Kate right here, I'd love to ask everybody to put yourselves at the presence of the Lord as we do our invocation. Lord, thank you for this wonderful day you've given us. Thank you for always taking care of us, taking care of our needs, even before we let you know what we think we need. And thank you for always giving us, always, not just what we want, but exactly what we need at the time that we need it. And may we continue to be a blessing to the people around us, to our country, and to this world. And with your help, may we always fulfill our life's purpose, be it as, private citizen, as a family member, as a friend, as a Filipino, and as a Toastmaster. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Isael, may I ask you again to there you go, because we know the drill for our Toastmasters promise. Everybody, you know what to do. Your hands up here or up there. Feel free to say it with me. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program. to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, and to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Thank you, President Isael. Kate, I want to ask you, what is your idea? Or when you heard the word Toastmasters, what came into your head? Kate.
Something that is inspirational, something that is motivating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank my fellow Toastmasters. Do you think that was a good idea from her? Yeah. Is that what we are? Is that how we are? Yes. So you're right. Thank you. I'm happy that's your impression. Because a lot of our guests, they would come in and they don't really have an idea. And sometimes they would even think that it's not an organization, but rather a brand, like you have the bread and then you have the Toastmaster toaster, something like that. And that's real because there's really a brand that's Toastmaster, aside from the organization. But kidding aside, you are in an organization right now, Kate, as our special guest. You're here to just observe and talk if you want to, but we're not forcing you. Just observe what's happening during a regular session, and you would see how our speakers, or for this night, it's only one. So speaker would deliver her story and how we would react, how we would celebrate with her, and how would we have fun during our table topic sessions. So to make it short, okay, a Toastmasters rather is an international organization with about I believe we have 330,000 members all over the world. If I'm not mistaken, that's around 130 countries, including the Philippines. And this is, in my own opinion, and in most of their opinions, if not all, this is the most affordable and most practical tool that you can, or training tool rather, that you can have in this lifetime, which is, yeah, like I said, most affordable, right? So in Toastmasters, it's all about communications and leadership skills development. How does that sound for you, Kate?
It sounds good since I really need to prepare on my upcoming pageant at the same time to be trained. So I expect more po when it comes in skills for me to be mag-level up.
Thank you, Kate. You expect more. Okay, we give you more. Thank you. Yes, especially with the Q&A, right? This is, I think that's the only part of the pageant where you really have to say what you think. So we'll help you with that. And you're in good hands with Toastmaster Grace. So ladies and gentlemen, let us begin with our special theme for this evening, which is on a pilgrimage, right? I didn't make it on time at 7:30 because I was having my own pilgrimage. Okay. Even if of course, by our definition, it's a religious journey, right? But I believe that whatever it is that we do, it may not be necessarily directly related to the religion that we have, but all the things that we do, all the decisions that we make are shaped upon by our religious beliefs. So earlier I was in a homeopathy class, which is about, study of natural medicines, natural remedies, which I've always wanted to understand. And when I saw our theme, I'm like, oh yeah, so this is my own, journey right now. I'm on a pilgrimage to understanding how we can really heal without having to use all these medicines that I mean, we might have different views, and I'm just sharing my own journey. So yes, so for this journey, I know this is not yet table topics, but I would like to know from each of our member here in the club, including you, Kate, on the chat box. Will you please share your own pilgrimage right now, your own journey to, I don't know, something new, something special, or something that you have been going through the past months or years. Feel free to share on the chat box. Oh, mentoring for Toastmaster Grace. Career transition within the company or outside Toastmaster
Within,
wise.
of course, within.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you. What a reaction. Business ventures. Wow. As if your 10 businesses are not enough. Toastmaster Shella, I love it. Oh, Toastmaster Fiona. Okay, I won't ask you to not preempt the speech. Wonderful. So you see, we have different priorities, different journeys that we are venturing into. And it's nice to know that in this club, we have different kinds of people. Spiritual with your BCBP, or I'm not sure how I say it. Thank you very much. So now that we know a little bit about each other, it's time to move forward and give the floor to our table topics master, President Isel. Go ahead.
In Paulo Coelho book, The Pilgrimage, and I quote, "Life is a long pilgrimage from fear to love." As you can see, my turning point was pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. It was then that I, who had dedicated most of my life to penetrate the secrets of the universe, realized that there are no secrets. Life is always be a mystery. My favorite author, Paulo Coelho. And I agree, and I know that every one of you is familiar with him. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, welcome to the exciting part. This is it, the exciting part of the table topic sessions. In the table topic sessions, participants will be asking a questions and respond with an impromptu speech. Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation and also help us think on our feet. This help us develop our 4 communication skills. The first one is listening. Second is thinking. Third is organizing and speaking. And of course, as our guest Toastmaster Kate, the reason why she joined the Toastmasters here is for her to learn more about impromptu speech. Why do we need table topics, and why is it very important to know about and learn about impromptu speech? Because we do it every day in our daily lives, in conversation, in our reports at work, in marketing and promotion. You know, when you're joining beauty contests, as I remember our guests now you need to be prepared and you need to be concise in your speech, in debates, and of course, in many more. That what I have prepared for you right now is something questions, which is all about self-discovery. But first, let me help you with the timing guidelines. Just like the beauty contest, it has a time limit. But here in Toastmasters, we will be giving you some of the table topic is simply a short speech. Time limit is minimum of 1 minute and maximum of 2 minutes. Target time is 1 minute and 30 seconds. With us right now is Toastmaster Mayet. I believe she will be displaying a background on her. Yes, you can pin her if you will be speaking later on. So when you can see a green on her background, that means that you're 1 minute. And if you see yellow, that means you're on target and do not exceed 2 minutes. That means a red color on her background. The speaker is allowed time up to 30 seconds after having been heard the topic to compose his or her speech and then begin. Your time begins only upon giving the first gesture of starting the speech, whether it is spoken or acted. I encourage everyone to use the word of the night, which is the pilgrim. Now, to help you deliver your speech with effectively and meaningfully, I am now helping you, providing you some of the speech patterns that you can use. The first one, which is very common in Toastmasters, is the position, reason, example, and positions. I cannot discuss more about that. Compare and contrast, past, present, and future. You can also use straight from the heart, attention, interest, desires, and actions. But during this table topics session, I will be asking you or encouraging you to use the pattern SMG, the story message gain outline, which answers many type of questions. How do you use that? Of course, when you are given a questions, you begin with a story that illustrates the point that you want to stress, then stress your message of the point you want to make and expand your point with the gain or moral of the story. All right, I believe everybody is ready for the table topic sessions. All right, those ready?
TM Toastmaster of the evening. TM Press Israel.
Yes.
Sorry, I probably missed the earlier part. Did we already explain the word of the night?
All right, the word of the night is, of course, the pilgrim, which you can, sorry. All right.
Allow me to explain a bit on the word of the evening.
Yes. I'm sorry about that. Please, I'd like to call on our grammarian for tonight, none other than, of course, Tim Wally, to explain to us our word of the night. Toastmaster Wally?
Thank you. Can somebody allow me to share the screen? Here we go. Thank you for that. Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm your grammarian for the evening. And in connection to what already discussed by our table topic master of the evening, our word of the evening is pilgrim. This word came from a Latin word, which is peregrinus, or meaning foreigner or stranger. It could be a noun, meaning a person who journeys to a sacred place for religious reasons. It could be a verb as well, which means to travel, or in a general description of a personal growth and exploration. Like, for example, thousands of Filipino pilgrims traveled to Holy Land, or he pilgrimed to his old sporting places. So, fellow Toastmasters, please use the word pilgrim in all your speeches, whether in prepared speech or in our table topic. Back to you, table topic master, TM Misael.
Thank you so much, Team Wally. And of course, thank you for reminding me about your role. And of course, I would not let this pass without also calling the other role takers for tonight. I would not miss, of course, to our timer, tonight's timer, none other than Toastmaster Mayet Somoza, to discuss about her role.
Thank you very much, TM Isael. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Kate, our guest for the night, as a timer, my role is to remind all speakers how much time they spent on their speech, so that, of course, we would like to manage this meeting, have this meeting run on time. I will raise the green card when the speech is long enough according to your project requirement or the target time, close to the target time. For example, 1 minute and 30 seconds for table topics and 7 minutes for prepared speech. Sorry, table topics, 2 minutes. Okay. I will raise, for table topics, I will raise the yellow card. Okay, for on the 1 minute mark. Then, sorry, That was confusing. Green first, then yellow and red. Green for 1 minute mark on table topic speeches. Then yellow for 1 minute 30 seconds, and red when you're already 2 minutes or over 2 minutes for table topics. And same thing for prepared speeches. Okay, so for prepared speeches, I'll also be raising these colors. Okay, when you're over your target time, I'll also be raising the reds. Okay, so that would be a reminder for our speaker for tonight, Fiona. Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, PM Misael.
All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mayet. Of course, for the benefits of our guests right now, we still have another role taker for tonight, very important role. I would like to call the act counter, Toastmaster Grace, to share with us what is her role.
Thank you very much, Tia Misael. As the counter of the evening here in Toastmasters, we are very mindful of every word we utter. So my job as the counter is to count the number of times where you were able to use filler sounds like and also when you are doing overlong pauses, we take note of that. So you'll get to encourage fellow Toastmasters and share with them later in the meeting how much unnecessary sounds or words you were able to use. So you get to improve your performance in every speech delivery. That's it from the counter side. Thank you. Back to you, Tia Misael.
Thank you, Toastmaster Grace. Thank you to all of Toastmasters. Later on, our general evaluator will be calling them to, of course, to share with us their reports. Going back to my table topic sessions. All right, this time it's all about questions. As we grow older, it dawns on us that cobwebs have formed into the attics of our minds, preventing us from seeing ourselves clearly and authentically. We may exercise our curiosity, awareness, and compassion on others, but not often enough in ourselves. If we don't self-questions, our experiences are transformed into memories and filed away, and our opinions are slowly cemented into our character. Our experiences shape who we are and inform of our daily choices, while many deeply held beliefs can inhibit our growth. Active self-discovery requires challenging ourselves by asking questions and being willing to reflect on them. Of course, you don't need to go on literally on a pilgrimage. Right now, I hope to help you on your personal growth journey as I have prepared you some ultimate self-discovery questions from beauty contest questions. Are you guys ready? As a table topics master, I have the privilege to, of course, to select. All right, can you see my screen? Oh, not yet. All right. This is it. Ready. Any volunteers, brave soul in the meeting? Of course, I'm good in decision. I decide. So I choose Tim Pao. Tim Pao, choose any number.
Hi, good evening, President Israel. I would choose number 3.
All right. So remember, Tim Pao, you only have 2 minutes. You only have 30 seconds to think about your answers and any verbal or non-verbal gesture. That means you start. And when you start, you only have minimum 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes to answer these questions. Again, what is your number, Tim Pao?
I chose number 3.
Number 2 or 3?
3.
3, all right. This is your question. question or self-reflection discovery questions is, where does my concept of self-worth comes from? I mean, you're just asking yourself, where does my concept of self-worth comes from?
All right. Can I choose another number? All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends and our guests. Self-worth is very important. And I think self-worth comes from within yourself. And any human being or any person should remind his or herself that you are worthy or you are deserving of anything that you would like to achieve in this world, be it any achievement in your chosen career, uh, or anything that you would like to achieve in your health, in your family, or anything that that would satisfy your personal your anything personal personal goals and targets in your life. So self-worth, I think it should continuously be worked upon each and every day. For as time goes by, there are so many things that or so many factors that influences your mentality and mindset. And in a world where message and comments coming from so many people through social media, and you receive so many stimulus, be it positive or negative, that sometimes it it makes you feel that you don't deserve the things that you really want. So you have to remember that you are worthy of everything. It should be a daily affirmation to yourself. And you have to keep on reminding yourself that you are beautiful, you are brilliant, you are worthy of all, and you should love yourself. So again, remind yourself that you are worthy of what you truly want in your life. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Wow. How about a round of applause? That was awesome. I mean, right now we are all seeking validation from others to know our worth. And from the speech of Tim Pao that was inspiring, self-worth is, of course, should be from within. Nice. That was a great reminder, Tim Pao. Thank you so much. Why did I feel like emotional right now? Am I also doing some self-question discovery? All right, here we go. We still have 4 boxes to open. And I was told we have plenty of time because we only have 1 speaker. So I prepared a 5 questions for everybody to think and to ponder. Any volunteer? And I can see Team Grace.
I would
Gesture.
like to I would
Yes.
like to take this opportunity because I've been inactive for a while, so I'm getting rusty already. Let's give it a try.
Your number, Team Grace.
I'll go for number 1.
All right. Your question here is, what am I ashamed of? What am I ashamed of? Have you ever thought about asking yourself these questions?
Hmm. It has always been my dream to meet the Lord face to face and report to him what I have done while I am here, with a life, with a talent that he allowed me to use in my lifetime. If there's anything that I'm ashamed of, if there's anything, I wouldn't want to meet the Lord. If that time will come, I wouldn't want to face the Lord and be ashamed if he'll be asking me, Grace, what have you done with that one talent that I have given you? It would be a shame if I would tell the Lord I didn't do anything. That would be the worst kind of shame that I wouldn't want to happen if that point of my life will come. Instead, I would love to report to him, "Look, the one talent that you gave me, I was able to mentor so many. Thank you for the courage. Thank you for the energy and the passion that you have given me. I was able to reach out to as many people as I can, reach the communities, young people who are aspiring talents like me, who always believe that our greatest asset will always be God's given talent. And so every single day of my life, fellow Toastmasters, it has always been a reminder for me that I wanted to make as much contribution as I can while I am still here, because it would be shame to face the Lord, meet him, and report nothing. So at this point in my life, I am happy to share that I am looking forward to meet him and report to him so far what I have done in my life. And I do encourage my fellow Toastmasters, have you ever reflected on that point in your life that you'll get to face our Creator and then report to him what we have done with the talents that he endowed us? Whether it is a single talent or multiple talents that we have, it would be a shame if we were not able to give it back to him in such a way that it will be a great glory to his name. Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Team Grace. Big round of applause. And I agree with you. I cannot agree with you more with that. And I can see really how selfless and how generous you are of sharing with your talent, and something that I really admire of you. Thank you so much, Team Grace. And of course, welcome in our session, Team Ja. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. Okay, we're done with our second questions. I believe that our guest is ready for this question. Our future guest, future Toastmaster Kate, am I right? Are you ready? Would you take this challenge, answer any of the question?
We're gonna give a try po.
Okay, please pick
Yay!
any of the box.
Do I need to include the other word for tonight?
Yes,
Dream?
you don't,
Yes.
yeah. You need to
Yeah.
pick the other three. No, what's not pick.
So for number 5 po.
All right. Team, our guest, Kate, choose number 5. And this is your self-discovery questions. Is this time moving too fast or too slow? Is time moving too fast or too slow? Guests, Miss Kate.
Okay. I think in this era of generation, we are moving too fast because time flies so fast that we didn't imagine what's happening around us. In the start of the pandemic, in the span of pandemic, I realized that time goes as we didn't imagine. So we have to bond with our family, with our friends, together with our loved ones. And I think it is for us on how we cherish this moment po. So hindi ko nasingit hindi ko nasingit yung word na stranger. So I'm done na po.
All right, that's it. Thank you. Miss Kate, how about a warm round of applause? Great. Okay. Nice try, Miss Kate. I believe you still a lot more once you join us here in Toastmasters. Again, fellow Toastmasters, I would like to remind you may use our pattern story message game as if you outline. You can start with a story, begin with a story you want to stress, and of course, your message, what a message that you want to point out, and you end it with a moral of the story. Okay, you can share your experience. All right, we still have 2 more questions left. And I still 2 more brave soul, and I can see Tim Shelly.
I can volunteer.
Yes, Tim Fiona.
Well, I guess I could give it to TM Jack because I missed her.
Ah, Team Jack. Yes, Team Jack.
Yeah.
Team Jack, of course. Team Jack, this your questions. Oh, napindot ko na. Sorry. Where do I find happiness? Where do I find happiness? Team Jack.
What is happiness? With the things that is happening right now, I felt that every little things can be a source of happiness. It's about how we feel, what we see, what we felt, what we hear, and everything that surrounds us. Happiness, I think, is a choice. Despite all the things that is happening around the world and also happening around or what is happening in your life, you always have the choice to be happy. How to be happy? I think there are 3 things that you need to do so that you would be happy. Number 1, accept the things that you cannot change. There are things that even though you put your best on it, it really doesn't give the result that you want to. So sometimes it's not your control. And you don't need to be sad about it if you don't have the things that you want. So I think that it's very important that despite all that is not happening in your life, remember that I think that would be a redirection of the things that is not aligned of what you want. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you learn to appreciate the things that you have right now, because what you have right now might be someone's dream or someone's wish, but you don't learn how to appreciate it. So you need to be happy at the little things. And number 3, number 3 is the last thing that I think that it's very important is have your life one day at a time. Because if you worry more, if you worry with the things that happen in the past, and if you worry with what will happen in the future, you'll never be happy. And I think that would be the 3 things that you need to remember. Remember, happiness is a choice, and every day I choose to be happy.
Wow, what a powerful answer to that thought-provoking questions. 3 things that I learned that you said. Accept the things you cannot change. Appreciate everything that you have right now. And 3rd, live one day at a time. And I cannot add more because that's it. All right, we still have 1 questions left. And I believe it's Tiem Fiona, right?
Okay. Was TM Shala gonna
I'll take
it?
it, yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Fiona.
it's fine because I'm
Yep.
gonna speak later.
Your question here is,
Number 4.
can I shape my own destiny, or is it predetermined? Can I shape my own destiny, or is it predetermined?
As a Christian, we were all told that God has already made he has already made a plan when we were born, or when when we are still um, in the womb of our parents, or when God is just thinking for us to come to the world, right? That's what my parents used to tell me, that when you were born until your life is already predetermined. However, as I journey, as I pilgrim to this life, I realize that we all have our own choices, and God is so good. He is amazing God that He let us choose what we want to do. So I think that we can all shape our own destiny. So in our family, there was no business person, both in my husband's side and my family side. So when we were thinking of prepare to do business in the Philippines, it was really hard for us as an OFW. We have to journey. It's either to migrate to Canada or Australia. But one day, I realized, me and my husband, we were sitting in a agency to migrate, for a migration agency. And while we were waiting for that agent, we were talking and said, I really want, my husband said that, I really want to go home and have our own business. I don't want to be an employee anymore. So I'm like, what? Do you think we can do that? So the last 10 years of our lives is full of planning, trying, and thinking. And now that we have already started, and 3 years ago when we started our own shops, I realized that we can do it. And that every time now that I want to do something, we're like, we can do it. So we can shape what we want to happen in our lives. And it's either a career. So right now I'm more brave. So when people will tell me that, Rochella, you're thinking about that again, I'm like, yes, I can do it. So when they say that I'm doing a lot of things, no, I am not. Because I am inspired of Toastmasters that, they all do a lot of things. And I think that we can all have our own destiny, but we always have to think, like, we always have to pray to the Lord. And if it doesn't happen, then we just have to cry one day and move on to the next. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Tim Shella. That was another touching and inspiring story of your sharing about how you started your business and, of course, shaping your own destiny. And, of course, not forgetting that everything else we still have to rely to, of course, the ultimate God, of course. Thank you, everybody, for sharing, for participating in our table topics session for tonight. And of course, I'd like to end my session with this quote from Paulo Coelho, and it says that when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. And I would always remember none other than DTM Toastmaster Trixie, the queen of all positivity, the positivity tricks when I encountered this kind of law of attractions and everything else, of course. With that, fellow Toastmasters and our guest, future Toastmaster Kate, I hope you learned a lot. I hope the table topic sessions helps you to think more about life. And hopefully next time you will be encountering some questions. Don't panic, just relax. Take it and think of it. You always have an answer to every question. With that, I now turn over to the queen of all positivity, DTM Trixie.
Toast table topics master Isael, thank you very much for very entertaining and thought-provoking table topics portion. Can we give him and all the speakers a warm round of applause? Wonderful. How can we top that next time? And thank you also for reminding me about this thing, so I would be sharing more positivity stories and tips for the people in the world. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're done with the table topics portion. So, Kate, that is our impromptu part of the program, wherein that's the one amongst many other things that really differentiates a Toastmasters organization or club with all the other clubs that you would see, right? Because for every organization, you have your main purpose, and with us, because again, this is leadership and communications, we believe that it is, but to our advantage when we do impromptu speeches like this, because in reality, every day we find people, or people find us and ask us things, and we'll never really know what that person wants from us. So it's always impromptu. It's always table topics. And in that way, you see the practicality of what we're trying to do here, of what we're practicing. Even even after getting off Zoom and talking to whoever is there. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we move forward to the other part of the program, which is our evaluation portion. And for this part, it's not me who will be evaluating, but we have a general evaluator, sometimes an in-house person, sometimes a guest, a fellow Toastmaster from other clubs, or even districts. And tonight we have with us, yes.
Do you have one prepared speaker?
Oh, yes. What's happening to me? Thank you very much. There you go. See, you see the way that you did your table. What's happening to me? The way that you did your table topics was as if I heard all 5 speeches. Thank you, Professor Sophia. And you see, there's humor in every Toastmaster session. So that general evaluation part will be after, of course, having heard the prepared speech. Otherwise, there's nothing to evaluate. But before I call in our one and only speaker tonight, I'd like to double check with her evaluator. So let me check. President Isael, since we don't have Toastmaster Trish, let me know who would be evaluating our speaker.
I will be evaluating TM Fiona.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is her. I was just looking at it, and I believe this is her 4th speech, right? 3rd. Okay, just 3rd. But you had 3 previous evaluators, so okay, but this is your 3rd. Okay, wonderful. This is under the Visionary Communications Project, which is all about introduction to vocal variety and body language for 5 to 7 minutes. And she will present a speech on any topic and use vocal variety or both body language and gestures, or both. Ladies and gentlemen, trust the process. Toastmaster Fiona Marie Bautista. Trust the process. Or Toastmaster Fiona Marie Bautista, trust the process. Go ahead.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. You may be wondering what my red beret prop is for. It's actually I would actually like to share about my journey as a pilgrim and my hobby, which is digital arts. Now, you see, digital arts isn't easy. And maybe when you think about digital arts, it goes something like this. Magic, right? Just a few brushstrokes, and your artwork is already there. However, it's more of something like this. It's a step-by-step process from sketch to finish. And I did this for 10 waking hours, crouched over my tablet. It's such a tedious thing to do, and it's extremely overwhelming because when it comes to art, there are a lot of things to consider. You have your color, your composition, your proportion. And to get to the point where I could draw something such as that, I first was subjected to a lot of overwhelming factors. And what do we usually do when we find something overwhelming? Well, for me, the easiest thing to do was to put down my pencil, close the tab, and give up. Let the unfinished artwork rot in my desktop. Now, as I started to tread on in my journey, I realized that I was doing this too often, and it was leaving me with this pile of unfinished works that has just left me dejected. Fellow Toastmasters, I would like to once again say that I would be sharing with you my journey in digital arts, because in this journey I wasn't simply drawing. I was learning life skills from the obstacles I was facing. As I mentioned before, art is hard. I sat down for 10 hours straight. And when you're planning a piece, it isn't usually smooth, or your progress isn't all too well defined unless you have been stuck in this workflow for a lengthy amount of time. Now, when I start to think something and I say, I want to draw a very beautiful cat, for example. And so I plan it in my head and I plan all the details. I lay down the sketches, and when I look at my sketch, it's just a lot. That's a million tiny details to color in and to render. Just thinking about it and running the numbers in my head, this is gonna take me eternity. So what do I do again? I put down my pencil and I give up. Another artwork left to rot in the dark. And at some point, I've come across my folder, and it was just full of all of these unfinished works, and I wanted to try again. And I told myself, maybe this time I want to see something that's completed. And so I tried just for one artwork. I had to sketch one detail at a time. Draw one eye and then the other. Draw one leaf and then another until I get an entire plant. Now, this alone is hard enough because this taught me about patience. Planning all this or looking at your work from a whole is really going to get you overwhelmed at how much time you might have to spend completing it. Now, and this helped me practice patience, because instead of being overwhelmed with the amount of time it would take for me to complete a piece, it allowed me to focus on the completion of each minor step, and along the way, pick up something from every checkpoint that I've managed to check off. But sometimes these minor things along the way could get tiring or could get difficult. I would add a detail, and then suddenly this detail makes the artwork seem a little bit wonky. Sometimes I find that the proportions are off, the colors don't make sense, and that upsets me. What about all these hours I've poured in? Imagine being 6 hours into the painting and you just can't seem to see that something doesn't fit. Do I give up? No. I used to, and I would just have to deal with the frustration of having messed up along the way. But no, this time I told myself I would put my pencil down, I would close my tab, and I would come back to this. I would take a break, I would come back to this with fresh eyes and with fresh knowledge on how I can address these things I'm frustrated with. You see, my fellow Toastmasters, though this is just a hobby of mine, it was something meditative somehow, because I saw within myself that these are traits that you don't simply just find in art, or it doesn't simply that is only that can only be applied through art. These are lessons that we can apply when it comes to setting goals for ourselves, especially when we're starting something new. The task at hand at the start seems so large and your target seems so far away. And that's where the patience comes in. Because you have to learn that there are no instant results. That's the reality. Also, it is simply not it is not simply checking off your goalposts, but it's also about how you'd find yourself evolving along every step of the way. It's about striving to make meaningful progress, no matter how small it is quantitatively. And do note that in every checkpoint you encounter, you might not always get the exact results you envisioned. But do remember to carry on. Trust yourself. Trust the process. So once more, I'd like to share my completed work, which does obviously does not look like what it did compared to the beginning and to the completed product. But along every step of the way, along every revision, I told myself I would finish this. I would trust in my capabilities to just go and keep on rendering until I'm satisfied with my work. It's been an honor. Back to you, TM Trixie.
More round of applause for Toastmaster Fiona. Wow, both of the artworks that you share, the before and the after. I mean, they're both beautiful, and they tell me different stories. Different stories, even if it's the same girl, but just with the colors, just with the tweaking. Wow. Thank you for your story, Toastmaster Fiona. But I'm not the one to comment on that because you have your evaluator, Toastmaster Shella, for later. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you feeling now? We're halfway our program. One word to describe. You see, I like to monitor things, feelings. Everybody's saying, ang galing, and it's amazing, Toastmaster Fiona. Wonderful. We're halfway in our program. Everybody feeling so blessed that you attended the meeting tonight. Beautiful insights, great, inspiring, and happy. Woohoo! Thank you, President Isael, for helping me, in the introduction portion, calling all the role takers. Thank you. Yes, pure talent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the general evaluation portion. So, Kate, fellow Toastmasters, again, this is about the evaluator. This is about the general evaluator evaluating the evaluators, and the evaluator obviously sharing their personal insights, opinions about what they have just heard and seen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Toastmaster, our Vice President for Education, Toastmaster Sofia Carino, as our general evaluator once again.
All right, so thank you everyone. And once again, I am Sophia Carino. I will be your general evaluator for tonight. So before I start, is my audio good? Because I don't have a mic. All right. So I was actually the one who thought of the theme for today, pilgrimage. And honestly, I had a hard time thinking of a theme because I was thinking there's so many things that we could make a theme out of. Do I make it about movies? Do I make it about books? Do I base it off of a holiday or a religious holiday? But as I was scouring Google for holidays to base our theme off of, I came across the Muslim holiday or the Muslim I'm not sure how you call it, but I think it's a religious thing called Eid al-Adha, where it's basically they go on a pilgrimage or they go on this journey to rediscover themselves, praise their God and such. And so I thought that's a good theme, pilgrimage. And its pilgrimage isn't something that can only be applicable to Muslims or their religious journey. It can also be applicable to us, to other religions, even if you don't believe in a religion. And I would like to make a confession, fellow Toastmasters, and that I'm not actually religious. And I think you could consider me an agnostic or just someone who basically questions the presence of a god or things like that. So I think I'd consider myself an agnostic. And I think even if I don't believe in a god or I question the presence of a god, I still believe that a pilgrimage can be applicable to me because pilgrimages can't don't just have to be religious. They can be about personal growth, self-reflection as well. And so that's what I wanted to happen in this meeting, and seeing all of the answers, especially during the table topics and during the introduction when TME Trixie was introducing the topic and the theme, I figured and I found out that a lot of people also had their own idea of pilgrimage. Some people saw it as a way to prove to themselves and to God that they have something to prove, and others saw it as personal reflection and personal growth, just like what we saw with TM Fiona's speech. And so I'm so happy that we were all able to interpret the theme for tonight well, and that it was here that we saw that it doesn't only just have to be one path. It doesn't just have to be spiritual or religious, but it can also be personal and reflective. Now, as your as your general evaluator for tonight, I am responsible for evaluating the evaluators as well as evaluating our overall meeting for tonight. Now, I will be doing that towards the end, the overall meeting evaluation. So first, let us move to the evaluation of our table topics session, since that was the first thing that we had. So our table topics evaluator is TM Josh. Why is TM Joshua here? TM Joshua's not here. Oh, sorry.
So I believe Toastmaster Isael, will that be me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Toastmaster Sophia, so it's me.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I only just realized, yes, after Toastmaster Pau talked, so Toastmaster Pau, I wish I knew so I could have really I would have been in the zone. But anyway, good evening again and again. So for our table topics portion, I'd like to start off with our table topics master. Toastmaster Isael, I've seen you since what, 2019, 2020? And I would have to say that even with table topics, okay, there has been a lot, and I would say a tremendous growth in how you put yourself out there, the delivery, how you organized yourself into what will you say first, how do you say it, and even of course with the content of what you're going to be presenting. So in terms of visuals, you're just getting better and better. In terms of the topics, as they said, wow, what this this were deep, right? It's all about self-discovery journeys, really suited for the theme of our own pilgrimage. And yeah, in terms of confidence level, you're just getting better and better. So I think that's what Toastmasters do for us, right? So thank you very much for showing us good example on how table topics should be handled and facilitated. Now, moving forward to our speakers, I would have to say that when I was listening to you, let me evaluate you as, in general, because we've known each other for quite some time. And since it's all about pilgrimage, right? We are our own pilgrims on whatever pilgrimage we're going into. And then I realized that if I were to liken you to, a specific type of pilgrim, and then I would have to say, for example, that with Toastmaster Shala, let me start from the last one. You are the kind of pilgrim, again, this is just my own opinion based on how you answered. You're the kind of pilgrim who would be, imagine if we were to go with you on a journey. You are what I call the backgrounder, right? Backgrounder, meaning to say, if we see something, and for example, let's say, for example, we have Toastmaster Paolo as our leader of the trip, um and he shows us something, you would be the or you would show us something that you know about the place. Okay, let me put it that way. You would start explaining to us by giving us a background for us to appreciate what you're talking about and where we are. So that is how I would describe you. So which is very important because a lot of times we just speak and we forget that, oh yeah, I have to set the tone first. I have to let you know where I'm coming from. So that is what you showed to us earlier. Toastmaster Jack, we're happy to have you back. You are the kind of pilgrim that likes, I would say, labels. Okay. So for example, you're not just gonna say, I don't know, but I'm the visitor, or I'm the guest, or we have a VIP here. Let's put a label on that, because you want to make sure that people would, that the people's expectations and that how people should define what's happening or what they're talking about is set. Because again, if not, we might get lost in the context. So that is how you answered tonight's Toastmasters, tonight's table topics. And going into it, you talked about the definition first, right? You didn't go right. Okay, happiness for me is when I, etc., etc. You went into defining happiness in the general context that everybody would be able to relate to before you put in your own insights on where you're coming from. That's for you. While with Toastmasters, with our guest Kate, Kate is the kind of pilgrim who is so direct to the point. Direct to the point, as in, okay, you ask me this, I'll tell you what you need to know. And Kate, that just shows she's not here, but you can tell this to those answer Grace. This just shows that she is brave, and she's ready to be a beauty queen and a Toastmaster. And as for Grace, Toastmaster Grace, you're the kind of pilgrim who would always look at the future, not just think about the now, but also like, yeah, and in the future, this is where I want to go. This is where you would relate your present to the future. Because earlier on, I remember the question is, what are you ashamed of? And instead of, although of course that's a difficult question, you went ahead to, um, you know, in such a good angle. Like you had to do a wonderful re-angling to that, talking about the future. Right? Beautiful. And as for Toastmaster Paolo, I from my memory, Toastmaster Paolo, you were you're so comfortable that you don't mind. You're the kind of pilgrim who would just literally tell us stories about yourself, and you don't mind that. You're okay to show who you are. You're okay to be very comfortable with whoever is around you, and that's something that not a lot of people can do. So See, that is how you guys re-angled every table topic question, and I believe we are really growing because this is not our, not the usual. Not most people would answer it. So congratulations. Thank you very much. I think I spoke too much. Toastmaster Sophia.
Thank you very much for that evaluation, TME Trixie. And can I just ask if that was impromptu? If if you knew you were going to be the table topics evaluator earlier?
I knew it when the second speaker was speaking with Grace. When Grace was
Oh,
speaking.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All
Sorry,
right.
sorry.
So thank you very much for that evaluation, TM Trixie. And I could say that it's a bit impromptu because you weren't prepared from the get-go. I think you only found out yun nga, from the second speaker. But even then, you were still able to give such great tips and such great remarks about our speaker and our table topics master, and that just shows that you were actually listening and paying attention to the meeting and to whatever was being said by the table topics master, and for that I think it deserves an applause. Trixie, I think you're wearing a lot of hats tonight, so I can really applaud you for being able to pay attention and still being able to come up with evaluations on the fly and have the evaluations actually have substance and not just have them be, the very typical shallow body language, voice and tone, but it was very descriptive, and you were actually trying to study and understand what type of pilgrim each speaker was. And thank you so much for that evaluation, TM Trixie. Now let's move on to the evaluation of our first and only speaker. Could I ask TM Shella if are you ready to give your evaluation?
I was born ready.
All right. Okay. So TM Shella, please take it away.
Good evening again, Toastmasters. And today I'm the I'm the evaluator of TM Fiona. Am I good? My audio is good?
Yep, you are good.
Okay. So while TM Fiona is, while she started her speech, first, I'm always amazed by TM Fiona. She's my batchmate in Toastmaster. So we kind of have a relationship, unspoken relationship. So I remember before when I started in my first speech, I can see that TM Fiona is so confident, and then I can always compare myself that, oh, I don't speak that well. But I didn't think of it like I cannot do that. Like I always think that I can do it. So today TM Fiona has raised the bar again. So I have to challenge myself in my next speech. Then Fiona, during your speech, you were pleasing to the eyes. Your outfit, I can see the artist outfit, and then you have your artist hat, and of course, your voice is always soothing to our ear. It's a given in all your speeches. Your voice is always relaxing, and then you kind of caught our attention. You know that I don't want to do anything else but just listen to you while you're doing your speech. And you're very spontaneous when you were speaking, as well as the facial expression. I can feel the frustration when you said that you cannot do it first in the beginning. And art is actually my weakness. Until now, I can only draw a stick person. We are my sister. She can really draw well, like what you're doing. She does procreate. So I know my weakness is reading and arts. So I made sure that my daughter can read well. I mean, we love reading and we love art. So I always bring her to my sister's room before when we were in Dubai. We share in the same house. So she always go to her room. That's why I can connect it to my table topic earlier that that you can always shape your destiny. So me and my husband, we are not well in drawing. And also the lesson that you've shared during your speech, I like it. The life skills, and I can connect with that. In a sense that again, the journey of doing business, it was not easy. This is our second time to come home. The first time was in 2014, and just for 6 months, I wanted to fly back to Dubai, and we did in 10 months. But then when we went back there, we really want to again do the business. So we, as you said in your story, that you did it one, like a little thing at a time. Like you don't need to finish it in one sitting. So in everything that I'm doing now, I learned that that is a very important life skills that you have to take it one day at a time in everything that you do, and then at the same time when you have to create something in Trello or the Kanban method, that you have to do it to break all your tasks in little things. So the now I don't get frustrated when I know my sister she draw well, but she doesn't understand the organizational skill. So in everything we can relate to arts and organizing, everything that we do, even at home in cooking and studying. So with my daughter, we always use 3 simple steps, like in everything she does at home, at school, we always break it in small little tasks so she won't get overwhelmed. So in drawing, she also does that. Like if she cannot complete it in one day, she can continue it tomorrow. So thank you for sharing your story, your hobby, and it has inspired us. And also not only the digital arts, but we can connect also to the life skills that you've learned. Thank you, Te Fiona.
Thank you very much, TM Shella. And I can attest to what you said. You said you were born ready, and I can definitely say that you were definitely ready for that evaluation. Now, one thing that I really loved about your evaluation, TM Shella, is that what a lot of us tend to forget that an evaluation is also a speech, or it's a form of speech. And so one thing that I noticed about the Shella's evaluation or her delivery was that it was very speech-like. She included her own personal story to further make her point and make her judgment and prove her point about what she was saying with TM Fiona. And she was also very in-depth, and it made me realize that she really did listen very well to TM Fiona's speech, and she was very attentive with the details that TM Fiona was giving, and therefore was able to connect it to TM Shella or her own personal experience, and use that as like a launch pad or a jump start to further explain her points to TM Fiona to sort of contextualize it. Because most of the time, whenever I listen to evaluations, a lot of evaluators, they like to give the tips, the suggestions, but if you stop at that, if you don't give examples, if you don't contextualize it, it makes it hard for the receiver of your evaluation to kind of grasp what you're saying. Like, yes, you need to do this more. Yes, you need to focus on this more, but how do I do that? I need to understand what it means. And I think this also reminds me of that time when I was doing my international speech competition, and a lot of people evaluated me. But some of the evaluations I got, I didn't understand. They gave me tips to focus less on this, to focus more on that, but I didn't really get what they were saying, and I had to personally message them. I don't get what you said, like this, like that, because to me, I think I did well there, and I don't get how it applies to me. So by using a personal story and by connecting it to herself or to a real life scenario, TM Shell was able to really contextualize it and make everyone understand what she really meant. Now, the downside of treating an evaluation like a speech is that you tend to take up as much time as it takes to deliver a speech. So I noticed that TM Shella was very over time. It's already been read for quite some time on TM Marietta's screen, and TM Shella was still speaking. So I think while the contextualization and all of the imagery and connections were good, TM Shella, I think you could still um make it a little bit more brief and still be concise with your idea. So there really has to be a balance of being able to be of being clear with whatever you were saying, but still being within time and compressing it and being concise. So nevertheless, thank you so much for that, TM Shella. I really enjoyed your evaluation. I'm sure everyone here as well did. Now that that concludes the evaluation for our speakers. Did I forget anything? No, I didn't. I hope. We can now move on to the evaluation or the evaluations of our tag team. So I would like to go in the order of the TAG. So timer, a counter, and then the grammarian. So is our timer, Tia Marietta, are we ready with the timer's report? All right, so Tia
Yes.
Marietta, please take it away with the timer's report.
Thank you very much, TM Sophia. Would you allow me to share my screen, please? Okay. 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 So as the legendary management guru Peter Drucker said, you cannot improve what you don't measure. So here we are. That being said, let me present you my timers time spent per speech for our table topic speakers, for our prepared speech, and two of our evaluators. Okay. For our target time should be 2 minutes for table topics. Okay. Oh, well, although we do have grace period of 30 seconds for table topics. And here are the time spent for each table topic speaker. Okay. Kate being the shortest, having the shortest time, followed by TM Pao, and we go to TM Shella, having consumed 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Okay. And of course, she was talking about destiny, and it was actually a good speech. Also with TM Grace, talking about facing God and report that, okay, kulang yung aking keynotes dun kay TM Grace. I was typing in phrases that I remember from their speeches. Okay, for TM Grace, 2 minutes 44 seconds. Okay, for TM Pao, 2 minutes 22 seconds. Talking about self-worth. Then for our prepared speech, TM Fiona, we have 9 minutes 2 seconds. Okay, then for our evaluators, actually just combine them into one chart. Although for table topics evaluator, target time is 6 minutes, and we have a different prepared speech target evaluation, which is 3 minutes. For TM Shella, you consume 4 minutes 51 seconds, and TM Tricks, being a seasoned evaluator, of course, just a little, 6 minutes na, 5 minutes 58 seconds. Okay. Yeah. And that would be all for my timer support. Back to you, Toastmasters. Back to you, TM Sophia.
All right, so first, before I give my evaluation, let's move on to our A counter. So I think our A counter will be TM Grace. Are we ready? with the accountant's report. Okay, so let's move on to our accountant's report.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I'll be asking TM Maya to please put down the screen share for now so I can share mine. Thank you, TM Maya. Good evening, fellow
Yes.
Toastmasters. I am just what can I say? I am just excited to share with you the news about tonight's performance. You know, to be very honest, during the presentation and the speeches, including the table topics, I was really amazed as I listened to how you confidently share your thoughts. I'm just so happy to see how everyone openly shared their thoughts. And to be honest, it's so difficult to be too technical when you are so engrossed listening to the stories. You know, you have to wait for the and the and the and all that part because the way I heard everyone deliver their speeches, I'm just so amazed because we were all on this pilgrimage. We're all pilgrims exploring how to continuously improve our public speaking skills, right? And from where I started and seeing everyone here today, I'm just amazed. I couldn't help but really be into the moment just listening to you. But then again, fellow Toastmasters, it is my role tonight to make sure that I keep you updated on how we are doing. Fellow Toastmasters, tonight, I happen to notice there are still TMs who are often using these filler words, particularly all right, so, like, and we still hear some of those. And then here are the scores. There may be portion that we would have to be more careful on that particular area when we get to really focus on our message and we tend to give away those filler sounds. So here's the scores that I am able to write down. To be honest, it's so difficult to write everything. Da 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 da. Check it on my slide. Give me a second. Boom. Okay. I hope you can see my slides. No, I don't see my own slides. Second. There. Uh-huh. Counter report, sharing my slide. Now, boom. There. Finally. I hope you can see my slides. I'm not able to cover TM Wally because he's still to give his report. But then again, with the time I had earlier, here's my total scores. For TM Trixie, you've scored 3 points for some of the filler sounds. For TM Isabel, surprisingly, you were very spontaneous. I didn't hear a dead air, a filler sound because you were so spontaneous. 0 score for you. TM Pao, there's just 1. TM Kate with 3 points. TM Mayat with 4. Jeff, it was flawless. I didn't hear a single a pause. I was actually waiting also for some filler or repetitive words, but 0. Shella, I heard TM Shella full with 4. TM Fiona with 1. TM Sophia with 5. And TM Wally, in the earlier part of your speech, I didn't heard any filler sound, repetitive words, or any main issue in terms of technicality. Well, fellow Toastmasters, it's just that I'm so proud of everybody because we've all reached this stage when everyone's so comfortable sharing their thoughts. And we don't really mind so much about the technicality, but then we still have to be aware of it. So we continue to be more of the sharing side than the technical side. But then again, we're starting to absorb it little by little in such a way that it's getting more and more natural, unlike before. Okay, so congratulations, fellow Toastmasters. That's it from my report. Back to you, General Evaluator. TM, I don't see her. There she is. TM Sophia. Thank you, TM Sophia.
Thank you very much, TM Grace. So last, let's move on to our grammarian. TM Wally, is our grammarian's report ready? There we go. All right, take it away, TM Wally.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, Indeed, it was a great pilgrimage tonight. We had a great meeting, and I have listed a lot of good use of words, and I was almost run out of space in my note.
Wow.
So let me start recognizing those speakers who utilize our word of the evening, which is pilgrim. Toastmaster Sheila, when she mentioned, when she said, as I pilgrim to this life. DTM Trixie, during her table topic evaluation, we are all pilgrims. And I heard exactly the same praise from TM Grace. We are all pilgrims. I noticed 3 opportunities for improvement for tonight. When we are referring to one person, especially Toastmaster, it should not have an S. It should be Toastmaster Grace or Toastmaster of the evening, not Toastmasters Grace or Toastmasters of the evening. Then on the second one, the use of comparative word more brave, I would suggest let's use it. Let's use the better word, which is braver, as a comparative form. Then I also heard the use of kinda. It's not actually wrong. It is just an informal version of it. But if you would like to make it better, you can use kind of. Then this is what I'm saying earlier. I almost ran out of space. I heard a lot of quotes, idioms, and vocabulary for tonight. From TM Pau, self-worth should come from within. From TM Grace, my greatest asset is God's given talent. TM Jack, happiness is a choice. That's what's powerful. From our guest Kate, Toastmasters Club is motivational. That's true. And TM Fiona, just trust the process. TM Sheila, I was born ready. That's good. And I also heard from TM Press Isael. I couldn't agree more. And I'm frequently hearing this from several people. I just put the equivalent phrase for this, which is I completely agree. And I got interested also to what TM Sophia mentioned, agnostic. So I quickly searched about it. And it means a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God. So this is a good, new word for me. Then finally, I heard somebody speaking, I will be evaluating. In other words, you can also deliver this as I will evaluate. But just to explain, this is both correct. And the only difference for our reference is that when we say I will be evaluating, this is more on outside immediate future. And the other one is immediate future. So meaning you will be doing it right away or after this. But if you are referring to I will be doing or I will be evaluating, it could be a later of the day, it could be later part of the time. But if you are referring to immediate one, I would suggest let's use I will evaluate. But either of the two is grammatically correct. Back to you, Toastmaster Sophia, our general evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, TM Wally. Now that concludes the evaluation portion for our tag team. So it's now time for me to give my thoughts on the tag team. Now, one thing that I loved about all of our evaluators for the tag team is that they used presentations. And while presentations aren't really necessary or required for tag teams, but this is usually what I noticed with a lot of evaluations from tag teams from here and even in other clubs, is most of them will use presentations. And I think it's because the tag team, they are more into the nitty gritty of the entire meeting, and they really have to focus on not just a particular segment like a speech or the table topics, but they have more niches and they're more targeted in their evaluations. Like for example, the timer will only focus on one thing throughout the entire meeting. And I believe that with using presentations, you can really picture it more, and you can really show the audience more what you mean, especially since they're going to be talking a lot about technical things such as Team Sophia went overtime at 3 minutes, blah blah blah, and Team Israel went under time at 1 minute, blah blah blah. So I think it really helps to have a sort of visualization to really see what they mean or to understand them better. For example, when I saw TM Marieta's presentation, I was immediately able to see and understand, okay, these are the people who went overtime, these are the people who went undertime. And also with that, she'll be able to spend less time speaking with the evaluation. She won't have to list it down one by one because there is also still a time limit for the tag team evaluations. So with being visual and using presentations, you can just show it on the screen and just give a summary of what it all means. The same goes for the counter. We were able to see a visualization and look for ourselves and understand, okay, so I had 5, TMSL had 0, TM Wally had 3, let's say. I was able to see TM Wally had 3, for example. So we're able to visualize, and therefore TM Grace doesn't have to one by one list down, especially if it's a long meeting, if we had a second speaker per se. If we had a second speaker or if we're doing a speech marathon, then if a lot of people said ahs or ums or had repetitive words or overlong pauses, then she'll have to list down and say all of those people if she didn't have the presentation. But with the help of visual aids, then it'll be easier for the audience to understand and see, and also it'll be easier on the evaluator's part to focus more on giving substance to their evaluation as a whole. Now, for again, Tia Marietta, I love this. I love the evaluation. It was very clear, and I also love the presentation. It was very minimalistic, very simple, and easy to read. Same goes for TM Grace with the counters report, and for our grammarian, I really loved how in the germs or whenever there were grammatical errors, TM Wally was able to really give us the breakdown of what it meant, and not just correcting it, but also giving an explanation, the grammatical explanation, why is it wrong, and here is how to correct it, so that we don't just correct that particular phrase, but we can also correct future errors of the same nature. Now, I really love how our tag team was very creative with their presentations and also very in-depth with their evaluations. So that concludes the evaluations for all of our evaluators. I don't think I forgot anything else. So I believe that all evaluators were able to give their speeches. Now it's time for me to evaluate the meeting as a whole. And of course, our dear TM Trixie, who was our TME for tonight. Now, first, let me start off with TM Trixie. Now, I was a bit late because we were still having dinner. So I wasn't sure what was happening from 7:30 onwards, but when I did join, we still haven't started and I joined pretty late. So I think the meeting did start not really on time, but that's not really the TME's fault, just an overall summary. I think it was TM Grace who mentioned it was already 7:50 and we haven't started it yet. I think the original starting time for our club is 7:40 to 7:45. On Easy Speak, it's listed as 7:30 because to let people start coming in, piling in, to give people more leeway. And then 7:40 to 7:45 is when we should officially start, but we did start at 7:50, but that's just 5 minutes. And I think that should be all right. And then for TM Trixie, you did forget to call the tag team during the introduction. I think it's best to call the tag team first so that we can introduce their roles as well as introduce the idiom of the night, because I did notice a bit of a mix-up during the table topics portion where TM Wally noticed that the idiom and word for the night hasn't been introduced yet. So TM Israel had to reintroduce the tag team. So that's usually the TMEs. And the introduction of the tag team will usually just fall right after the introduction and before the start of the prepared speeches or the table topics. Just to give everyone an introduction to their role as well as the idiom of the night. And I think we made sure that all of the role takers were present. I just was a bit confused because TM Josh was not here, but that was rectified easily. So I think overall we had an amazing meeting, and I really enjoyed a lot of the speeches and a lot of the table topic speeches, and I learned a lot from the evaluations, and I hope you did too. And our guest just left, but I hope she learned a lot, and she did participate in the table topics, which I was very overjoyed to see. And so that concludes my evaluation portion and for my general evaluations role. So could I now please take it back to our TME for the closing of the meeting? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sophia. Can we give our general evaluator a warm round of applause? Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. It's 9:30. See, we're ending on time. If there's one thing that you realized, you learned or heard from the universe through our fellow Toastmasters tonight, what will it be? On the chat box, you can share a phrase, a sentence, a word, something that made you, that you just realized again or you remembered that made your night worth it to be here. So on the chat box, I would love to know, what was your big aha moment this evening? Yes, you're worthy, Toastmaster Grace. My gosh, 1,000 times. 1 billion times, rather. That's for her. How about the rest? Happiness is, wow.
Almost
Same,
at the same
right?
time.
We choose our destiny. Beautiful. So the 5 people, and we're 9. So I'm waiting for 3 more. Really, it's nice to hear what you're thinking and how you're feeling, because this gives us a deeper insight on what's happening to whom. We feel closer to each other and all these things. Time reveals wisdom, right? Except the things you cannot change. Correct? The only thing you can change is yourself, as we know it. So tonight has been a wonderful meeting. And again, our Toastmaster journey is also a pilgrimage in its own way. And I wish to see you all, and hopefully we get our group, bigger and bigger in this journey. And thank you very, very much for making time, for your energy and for your love for the club today and always. With that, I now give the floor back to our to our president, to officially close the meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Toastmaster Trixie. It's very great. It's a great night, and I completely agree with you. From Team Wally, I used to just that. And before I end, I'd like to leave some quotable quotes from Paulo Coelho. This time, it said that there is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve. And you know what? It's the fear of failure. And knowing that we are all here, we are not afraid to fail, but we keep trying, learning from each other. And that is something that was great. And I would say it's admirable traits. Thank you again, everybody. And any message from the members?
We haven't heard from TM King.
Yes, Team Grace.
I think TM Ting is still online. She might have something to share or say before we end. TM Ting, are you there? Oh, she's frozen now.
Yeah, she's here.
Just good night. Night.
All right.
I love listening to speeches.
Okay, we're glad that you get to be here. And of course, before we end, I would like to remind you that would be, I think, Sunday, Division K. We have an event, upcoming event, that is the Division K turnover. So anybody who wants to attend actually may register or may coordinate with us, team thing, or to me, with we'd love to see you in person, of course, and to attend in an event like Division K. We get to talk to and to our fellow Toastmasters from our divisions. All right. Without Team Pao, do you have anything to say? All right. With that, I now
Hold on, President Isael, very fast since you promoted the Sunday event. Everybody on July 9, that's a Saturday, that's 8 p.m. 8 to 10 p.m. It will be the District 75 officers installation, and you're all invited to watch via Facebook Live. So see you there. Thank you.
All right. With that, I now officially call this meeting adjourned. Thank you again, everybody. And of course,
Thank you.
we'd need to have a group picture, courtesy of
Yay.
Team Grace. Any tips?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, everyone. We'll be having 2 shots for tonight. One with a proper shot, and then the next one will be with the avatars. Okay.
All right.
Now let's do the. Okay. Can we just ask TM Sophia for now to be her normal self for now? Okay. We'll switch on the avatars for later. I already secured a nice photo of TM Ting earlier while she's driving. Okay, everyone, look straight to the cam. Find your best angle and smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, saving it now just to be sure no one is sleeping in this photo op. Checking our picture. Everyone smiling with eyes open. Cool. Now let's have our avatars ready. Do you want to do the avatar pose?
I don't know how to do that.
You don't know how to do the avatar? Okay. Anyway, let's just do the crazy pose na lang. O, sige, if you have your avatar, go. But then, yeah. I think I'll go for the avatar. You just go to background settings, background and effects, and then go to the virtual background, video filters, avatars. There's this option there. I think this has to be updated in your Zoom account. Okay, there you go. For those who have their avatars,
15 minutes.
Like
This is
over
my avatar. Go ahead.
Okay, go for the avatars. 1, 2, 3. Oh, by the way, when you open your mouth, it's also open. The avatars open their mouth too.
Dumidila din, oh. Cute.
Wow. Okay, don't worry. May humabol pa sa avatar. Wait. Don't worry, yung last avatar, papalitan ko na lang, ikakrap ko na lang. Okay, ayan, pumasok pa si TM Pao. 1, 2, 3 avatars. Okay, thank you so much for your time, TMs.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everybody. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Night, night.
Night, night.
Wait lang. End on me.